It's time for the man who's never
boring.
The leader of the Reform Party, a man who has been a MP for now 12 months and is on a trajectory to being the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. What a guest Nigel Farage is, and he turns up for us each and every week. Great man, happy anniversary. After seeing the belly of the beast for 12 months, how frustrating and how inspiring can it be?
Oh, I wouldn't give it more than 5 out of 10, I'm afraid. It's a wonderful building. It's a lovely building. The history of the place is incredible. You think of the great men and women, indeed, who've walked through that place and done amazing things and defended the world, stood up for liberty, democracy, the nation state. And then you look at who's in there today. And we have a government stuffed full of public sector civil servants, career politicians, and 1 year in, Starmer is the most unpopular Prime Minister of modern times. He U-turns virtually every week. But you know what? It's an ill wind, isn't it? And since I've been there, we made that breakthrough 12 months ago. We're now consistently leading the opinion polls and leading them by quite a significant gap. So, yeah, uninspired by the others, but thrilled with what we've managed to achieve in just 1 year.
Well, have a look at this. This is where Reform sits right now in a poll in the month just gone, that being June. Reform is at 34%.
Yep.
The Labor Party is at 25%, Conservatives at 15%, Lib Dems at 11%, Greens at 9% and Other at 6%. That is incredible. In terms of your satisfaction rating of the leaders, Nigel's 34% satisfied, 49% dissatisfied. Compare this with the Prime Minister, 19% satisfied. Geez, that must be friends and family, and I think even then they're lying. 73% dissatisfied. And I've got to say that if there is one issue and one issue alone, looking from afar, that I think is supercharging the want for your type of leadership and your type of focus, it is illegal immigration, right? Now, behind you, we can see the logo for the TV station you've done some work with over the years in GB News. One of their hosts, who's actually on same time of night in the UK as we are here, has been able to literally produce documents and infiltrate the gangs. And there's a great conversation that he had on the podcast Trigonometry this week, talking about how they were able to infiltrate. But more frighteningly, they handed all of the information to the authorities and the authorities did nothing. If they did something, and I mean something serious about illegal immigration, they'd give you a run for the money. But they're doing bugger all.
They're doing nothing. They're making false promises. Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson said they'd stop the boats. They didn't. Keir Starmer said he'd smash the gangs. All he's doing is smashing the Conservatives' record of the numbers of those that are coming across. The police seem to be, frankly, disinterested. And I'm afraid to say that 3 of those that have crossed by boat have been arrested for terrorism just recently. There is an increase in sexual assaults being caused by some of these young men who come from cultures that are completely different to our own. And the public are getting angrier and angrier. And one of the reasons, Paul, that people support me on this is 5 years ago, I went out into the channel, I filmed these boats, and I predicted what would happen. Everybody else was asleep at the wheel. Frankly, they still are. And maybe this is the biggest single issue that annoys people in Britain today. And of course, you had it in Australia, if you go back a few years, until Tony Abbott stopped it back in 2012.
So I know there's multiple places, but let's say you're the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Macron or whoever it would be, President of France, right? How do you stop it coming from France? How do you make sure that not a boat? Because in Australia, part of our issue, Indonesia, right? And there are literally tens of thousands at one point in time were going to come from Indonesia, but intergovernmental relationships meant Indonesia was stopping it at their door, which means it becomes a problem in and of it for themselves. So if you were Prime Minister, how do you negotiate something with the French to make sure nothing through the channel, nothing through the tunnel?
So, Paul, if you got in a dinghy tomorrow in Calais, right, and you came into the UK, you'd have a quick health check, you'd be put up in a 4-star hotel, you'd be given 3 square meals a day, you'd be given pocket money, you'd be given free medical care, free dental care, you'd be able to work illegally on the black market, make a few quid on the side. After a few months, you would be given leave to remain. They'd say, yeah, OK, we'll give you refugee status. You then go to the top of the social housing queue. The problem is as much the pull factors from Britain as it is the French stopping them. We are mugs. We are the only country in Europe who gives you everything if you discard your iPhone, discard your passport and enter Britain illegally. This is as much our fault as it is the French.
Yeah. Now, another person we have on the show quite regularly every week, like yourself, is the wonderful Megyn Kelly. Now, we've been talking about how the EU is starting to play its games where what is said on YouTube will be policed by, the thought police, and this will be a way of cracking things down, meaning a conversation like this in Australia or one that's happening in the United States, may well be tempered. In fact, if everyone wants to know, the only reason you have one plug for every mobile phone in the country now, it's because of the EU, saying no difference. So the power of the EU to police beyond its borders does exist. Do you think that their endless crackdowns on free speech are going to start to see maybe things in Australia, maybe things in America, maybe things in the UK get a handbrake on them?
I think that in America, the First Amendment rights of free speech are something that Americans believe in so fundamentally. And I think whatever your view of Elon Musk, him coming in and buying Twitter has actually made Facebook and other platforms much better for free speech than they've ever been before. So I don't see a threat coming from America. If anything, the pendulum there is going the other way. The EU, as you say, want to control everything. Sadly, our British government are much the same. We've got people in prison for saying things on X just because they happen to have one particular point of view. And Australia, well, I have said before that Australia, to me, appears to be the land of the woke. I'm sorry to come onto your show and insult your country. I don't really mean to, but yeah, I can easily see this happening in Australia, where you get a two-tier system, where those of a particular religion are allowed to say things differently to everybody else.
Thank you, Nigel. More strength to your arm. Congrats on 1 year in the UK Parliament. Many more to come with even greater responsibility. Thank you, mate. Nigel Farage joining us. As always,